A beautiful morning in Wellington, Florida is the backdrop for today's golf instructional, Golf for Women, with our teacher, Donna White. You're watching one of the most classic and solid swings in women's golf today. As an LPGA Tour veteran, 5-foot 2-inch Donna White burst onto the scene by winning the 1976 U.S. Women's Amateur Championship. She has since won 3 tour events and $700,000. Donna is respected as a gifted communicator and golf teacher who loves to work with players at all skill levels. This is evident in her extensive work with golf schools and clinics. Donna brings her unique teaching to this tape. In the next 30 minutes, Donna will bring the game to life with fun and useful teaching aids. Through her use of special props and creative camera angles, you'll gain a clear picture of how to sharpen the fundamental skills of golf.
Hi, I'm Donna White, and it's a beautiful day here in Wellington, Florida. I'm excited to be with you this morning for this beginning golf tape.
Golf is a fabulous game. One of the reasons I love it is because of its gorgeous surroundings. Every round is different and has its own set of challenges. Regardless of your skill level or age, golf can provide a lifetime of friendships and thrills. Well, I can't wait to begin the teaching, and we'll open with a look at what the game of golf is all about.
So let's get started. This is my daughter, Kristen, and you'll notice as she's swinging that it's just a smooth, uninterrupted motion, back and through, just like the golf swing. Back and through. Well, the golf swing is just like when Kristen was swinging. It's an uninterrupted motion, back and forward. Very smooth. There isn't any type of chopping or scooping action. It's an uninterrupted motion, back and forward. The ball just kind of gets in the way of the swing when you make it right. To give you a clear picture of how the swing relates to this target line, I've drawn an arc. You will see that when I swing, that my arms, hands, and shoulders swing back over my right shoulder, around the arc, down through, and around over my left shoulder. The swing is not a linear movement down the target line. This will cause you to chop or to scoop it. So remember to swing back over the right shoulder, down through, and over the left.
I've given you a simple introduction to the game of golf, so let's learn the steps needed to build a good golf swing. I'll start with the setup, which includes the grip, posture, and alignment.
Placing our hands correctly on the club will enable us to make that smooth swing we were talking about earlier. The grip is not a vice grip on the club, it's a very natural thing. It's just like when you go to clap your hands, see how my hands face each other? I'll use a yardstick to demonstrate this. Put your VCR on pause and go get your yardstick. As you can see, when I grip the yardstick, my hands are not opposing each other. They're balanced here on the yardstick. As you grip your yardstick, you should feel the yardstick in your fingers. The left hand is not over too far, nor is the right hand over too far. The hands are facing each other. Now let's use a golf club. I'm going to use this specially marked glove to show you the proper positions of the left hand on the golf club. Now let's look at it from above my shoulder. Let's first talk about the placement of the left hand on the golf club. You'll notice how my glove is marked, side and the pad. When you place your left hand on the golf club should be diagonal at the base of the fingers and in the palm. The pad should be on top of the club. Notice that? You'll also notice that there's a V formed here. I've taken a marker, I'll take a marker and mark it. This V should point to the right side of your face. You can also see that I have 2 knuckles showing. In women, I do prefer to have at least 2 knuckles showing, sometimes 3. This is a little bit stronger grip, but it will gain you more power. In placing the right hand on the club is placed down in the fingers of the right hand, and the fingers slide up snugly against the fingers of the left hand. The left thumb fits just underneath the lifeline of the right thumb, just like this. The V of the right hand should also point in the same direction of the V of your left hand. What we've just discussed is the baseball grip. The interlocking grip is when the index finger and the right little finger interlock. The overlapping is when they overlap. Notice that? I recommend most beginner golfers starting with the 10-finger or baseball grip. However, the most common grip which is used on tour is the overlapping.
Notice how my hands are positioned on the club and are working together as a unit. My left hand and arm stabilize the club as I swing back and through to the hole.
I can't stress how important it is for you to keep the pad on top of the grip. If you have it too weak a grip, in other words, if your pad is open here, you can't grip the club real firmly. A little test for this is to take the last 3 fingers off of the golf club. You should be able to support the club properly here. However, if your pad is off the club and you take your last 3 fingers off, you'll notice how weak that is. So make sure that your pad is on top of the golf club.
Here's a summary of the grip. The grip must be naturally balanced. The club is placed down in the fingers of the left hand with the pad on top. The right hand slips onto the grip in the fingers and covers up the left thumb. The V's should then point toward your right shoulder, and you should see at least 2 knuckles. Keep a light grip pressure on the club, which will allow you to make a nice, smooth, flowing swing.
Now that we've learned about the grip, let's learn about the proper posture in the golf swing. Most leading teachers in the world believe that posture is 90% of the golf game, and I certainly agree. Proper posture allows you to swing freely around that arc that's natural for you, back and through, back and through, just like this. Now let's talk about the steps to good posture. Your feet should be shoulders width apart and your weight balanced. You don't want your feet too wide apart, therefore you can't turn, nor do you want your feet too close together. You'll lose your balance. We want our feet shoulder width apart and the weight in the balls of your feet. For women, I prefer the weight to be more inside the right foot. This will enable you to make a smooth turn back to the right side and a smooth forward swing. Because the grip of the left hand is higher on the golf club, your left shoulder will naturally be higher than your right. Therefore, this natural tilt will also help you to swing back smoothly to the backswing and smoothly to the forward swing.
Watch carefully how well balanced I am in my stance.
Now that we've learned how wide our feet should be, let's go over some of the angles of the posture. Angles to me are very important in the posture, particularly the back angle. What we want to do is bend slightly from the waist with our knees slightly flexed. See how this creates a nice angle here at your pelvis? This will allow your arms to hang naturally from your body. We don't want to stand too tall or squat down because look at my back angle there. I cannot take the club back properly. Nor do we want to bend over too far. This will cause the club to go too upright, okay? So what I like to do when I teach people, I say check your tail feathers. It's just as if you're a rooster, and it's as if your tail, the tail feathers in your rooster stance position here are at a slight angle down toward the ground. If your tail feathers are too far out, they'll stick straight up, and if you're squatting too much, you will not be able to take it back properly. So you'll notice by the slight angles of my knees, the bend at my waist, and my tail feathers, this creates a nice natural back posture here. The important thing with back posture and the angle here is that throughout my golf swing I can maintain this posture. Watch, when I hit this ball I will be looking at you, and just because I've maintained my back angle I can still hit this golf ball. Remember to keep your chin up. This will allow you to take a nice full shoulder turn away from the ball. If your chin is down, this will restrict your shoulder turn. So keep your chin up and take a nice smooth swing. Just like that. But remember, check your tail feathers.
Here I want you to notice how the angles of my body allow my shoulders to turn and swing the club back and through freely. The next segment covers a simple 3-step plan for lining yourself up to the target. Number 1, the club face. Number 2, parallel body line. And 3, ball position.
It's critical that the club face is aligned properly toward the flag. Here's a good tip that you can use when you're out on the practice tee. Take a club and place it down your target line with the grip end going right toward the flag. Place the ball about 2 inches to the left of the club, and as you place the club behind the ball, be sure to have the leading edge of the club face perpendicular to the club. It should form a T with the golf club. Be sure you don't open it or close it. Then the body is placed parallel to the target line when this T is formed. I like to use the inside of my right foot and the club face as an indicator to see if I'm on line with my target. In other words, I'll put my club face down, then also the inside of my right foot. Then I step in with my left and establish correct body line. When you line up to the ball, your feet, knees, hips, and shoulders should be parallel left of your target line. This will allow you to take the club back nice and smooth on the proper line, just like this. Body line is so important because it determines where the golf ball goes. You don't want to be lined up too far to the right of your target, nor do you want to be lined up too far to the left. So remember, check your body line. I'm going to show you an easy way to set up properly and to make sure that you are aligned to your target. This is a routine that I use on tour. I take a club and I place it at my toe line, parallel left of the target line. Then I'll take another club and form a T. I call this my little tee box. Right at the ball. The butt of the club will be right on the ball. When I address it, after I've determined my club face, I go into my box, and you will see that the ball and club will determine ball position. In other words, if I move a little bit to the right, the ball position will be more off my left heel. If I move this way, it'll be off my right heel. What we want to do with the irons is to have the ball played right in the middle of your stance. When you set up, the butt of the club will be a little bit left of your tummy. We don't want them too far ahead, nor do we want it too far behind. In the woods, later on in the video, we will discuss that. We will play the woods a little more off the left heel. You'll see that the ball and the butt of the club here will be off my left heel. When you go out and practice, also form your tee box. This will give you confidence that you know you are lined up properly. Here's what it looks like. Be sure to set it up just like this.
Now let's briefly walk through the 3 steps. Number 1, place the club face square to the target line. Number 2, square your body to the club and the body lines parallel to the target line. Number 3, properly position the ball in your stance. Now you're ready to play your shot to the target. The golf swing, as we talked about earlier, has a backward motion and a forward motion. First, we'll cover the proper movements of the backswing. I'll begin with the takeaway.
The initial move from the ball should be similar to a sweeping motion. You should feel the weight of the broom as your arms, hands, and shoulders turn away from the ball. This is the same feeling you should have with a golf club. I'm not lifting the broom up with my hands and arms. I'm sweeping it low and back. Now I'm going to show you what it feels like with a club. With a golf club, you want to get the same sweeping motion on the takeaway. You'll notice that at this point, the toe is pointing up to the sky. To get a clearer view of that, we've got a special little club here that will show you the proper positions. This club has a happy face. The happy face shows the center of the club, and the arrow shows the toe. The initial move away from the ball is like a sweeping action, just like with the broom. You sweep the club back with the hands and arms and shoulders turning. At this point, with your smiley face looking at you and the toe pointing up. There are two positions in the takeaway that we want to guard against. Number one is we do not want to turn the club face under with the smiley face pointing down to the ground. We also do not want to fan the club going back with the smiley face pointing up to the sky. Remember, the proper takeaway is just like sweeping and swinging with a broom. The arms, hands, and shoulders turn back, the smiley face is looking at you, and the toe is pointing up to the sky. From here, we continue our shoulder turn. The arrow is pointing down toward the target. Your knuckles should be pointing up to the sky. Let me give you another view. When I get to the top, you'll notice that my knuckles are pointing up to the sky. This is very critical for women because a lot of women are weak. If you have your wrist this way or across this way, you don't have a lot of support. As we take the club back with our arms and shoulders, you'll notice that the body coils. This puts the weight back on the inside of the right foot, and your left knee will be behind the ball. Also, our back is toward the target. We also have a nice springing type of action here, which will allow our legs to work in the downswing. We don't want to sway when we take the club back. It's hard to get our back to the target from this type of position. Nor do we want to twist back. Remember, when you take the club back, take a nice full shoulder turn, allowing your body to coil naturally.
Notice how my body is coiled and my back is to the hole. Now we're ready for the forward swing.
The golf swing is very similar to other sports, particularly tennis. In tennis, you have to transfer your weight back to the right foot, then you also transfer back to the left foot. Back and through. I'll hit a tennis forehand for you to show you.
Ball, please. How about that, huh?
Let's get back to golf. As we turn away from the ball, our weight transfers to the right side. The toe of the club is pointing up, and when we transfer back to the left, the toe of the club is also pointing up to the sky. From this position, we go on and finish in a nice balanced position with our hands over our left shoulder and our belly button facing the target. Here are two things to guard against on the forward swing. When you get to the top, don't start by throwing your arms down toward the ball. Start with a smooth transfer over to the left side. Also, I see a lot of women, they'll get to the top and they try to scoop the ball up in the air. Let the club do that for you. That's the reason it has a loft.
A good weight transfer and smooth arm motion through the ball results in maximum distance and accuracy.
Here's a good illustration to recap what we've just gone over about the golf swing. We've taken a broom and painted it. This is the face, this is the toe, and this is the back of the club. When you address the ball, you take it back with the toe up, and you continue your backswing with the toe pointing toward the target. On your downswing, you come through with the toe up here and continuing back in a nice balanced position. What we don't want to do is on the takeaway, when you take it back, don't turn it under. See, the toe is pointing toward the camera. Or fan it open. The toe is behind you. And on the forward swing, we don't want to flip our wrist over with the toe pointing behind you or scoop it. So go get a broom and practice. Get a nice feel for what the proper swing should be. Another thing that the broom can do when you swing it is to develop tempo. By swinging a heavy object, you can develop the feel of back and through, back and through. Notice how the colors change. Back and through.
Believe me, size is not a factor when it comes to golf. When the proper swing techniques are applied, even a small person like me can powder the ball.
In hitting the driver, you should tee the ball up where the top of the club is right in the middle of the golf ball. Take your grip, get into your stance, and set up. The only thing that I'm aware of when I hit a driver is my ball position. I make sure that the ball is played off my left heel. When I do that, you will note that my hands are right to the left of my tummy. When I make a nice full shoulder turn, my back is to the target and I can come down and swing through the ball. We don't want to swing at the ball. I'm practicing short shots or chip shots. What you want to do when you chip, you want to select a club that will land right onto the green and roll toward the hole. I'm using a 7-iron. I suggest that you use a 5, 6, or 7 as well. A chip shot is a little mini swing, just like this. Here are some of the basic fundamentals of chipping. When you grip the club, choke down on the club. Take your stance with your feet a little closer together. You'll notice I'm in a nice balanced position. My weight is on my left side, which will help me stay still over the ball. The ball is positioned off my right heel and sometimes off my right toe. Because of this, you'll notice my hands are slightly ahead of the ball. This will enable me to keep my hands and arms leading toward the target. The chip is just a little mini golf swing, just like this. When you chip, try to stay real still over the ball. Don't try to scoop it with your hands. It's more of an arm, shoulders moving together. It's not a hand action or a chopping action. Also, notice that my backswing will equal my forward swing. Now, when we get a little farther away from the green, we should change clubs. Follow me. We call this a pitch shot. I'll use a 9-iron or a club with a little bit more loft than the 7-iron I used previously. This way, I know the ball will get up and over and roll toward the target. When I hit the shot, you use the same fundamentals as the short chip shot, allowing the club to get the ball up and toward the hole. Once you get on the golf green, you'll use a putter you'll notice that there isn't a lot of loft, or any at all, on a putter. That way the ball will roll and stay low. Putting is very similar to the golf swing. I will go over a few of the techniques that I like to use. When I grip my putter, I want to make sure that my palms are facing each other. You'll also notice that my arms are hanging loosely from my side and my elbows are slightly bent. I'll use a ping pong paddle to demonstrate that. I'll grip it with my palms facing, my arms slightly bent. Okay, we'll use this ping pong paddle and you'll notice how my arms and shoulders will move the putter back on a low and through action. I don't lift the paddle up, nor do I lift it up in the forward swing. It's a low and smooth action. Also, in this ping pong paddle, if I fan the putter face open, you'll notice you'll see the paddle face. Or if I close it over, coming through. When you use the ping pong paddle, if you have one in your house, you want this type of action. You want to take it back and through, back and through. A hands, arm, and shoulder motion. In addressing the putt, I'll use this target line like we did on the course. The target line is an imaginary line that you will see when you bend over. When you bend over, you want to make sure that your left eye is over the ball. When you have your left eye over the ball and your arms hanging freely, notice my posture. Look how balanced I am. My feet are square and parallel to my target line. The important thing when you putt is that you stay very still over the ball. Once you have your eyes over the ball, you should just be able to look down your target line to check and see if you're lined up properly. Then as you putt, you want to stay very still. Arms, hands, and shoulders. Arms, hands, and shoulders. There is no weight transfer in the putt. To develop a feeling for the correct direction or line, lay 2 clubs on the ground like so. Don't try to putt down a line, but stroke it just like it's down a track. Like that. The sand shot is a unique shot in golf because there's a club especially designed for it. I'll use this demonstration club to show you. A sand wedge has a real deep bottom here, what we call a flange. And this flange or bottom will push the ball out. See, it'll act almost like a plow. I'll show you. Watch how the bottom of this club pushes the ball out, and the ball just rides on the crest of the sand. That's exactly what happens in a sand shot. To hit a sand shot, take your grip, open the club face up, and align your body left of your target. Your weight will be on the inside of your left heel, and the ball is also off of your left heel. When you hit it, you want to let the club blast the ball up out of the trap. We don't hit down on the ball, nor would you try to scoop it up. This club, remember, is designed to project the ball out onto the green. Establish a nice, secure base. Dig down in there a little bit, where you feel nice and balanced. When you hit the sand shot, you want the club to enter the sand about 2 inches behind the ball. Now to illustrate just what I said, watch this. I'll let this red sand, I'll try to sweep this sand up onto the green. This will allow the club to do the work, not me. Remember, trust what your wedge was made to do.
Well, that concludes the special shots segment of our tape. I've sure enjoyed this. Maybe we can do it again sometime. I'd sure like that.
In closing, watch the tape over and over again. You may want to take notes. Practice the steps that we showed you on the tape to develop a solid foundation for your golf game. Go in your backyard and swing your broom. You may want to try using some tennis balls or wiffle balls to get the feel of making a solid contact. Remember, do not substitute this tape for a series of golf lessons from your local LPGA or PGA professional. Also, develop your own routine. Golf is a game that requires a lot of patience, and the more confidence that you can gain, the better off you are, and you'll have a lot more fun.